My name is Caroline Hallam, and I am your instruction librarian. NC Live's training program is funded through a 3-year LSTA grant through the State Library of North Carolina, and that's what my position is available through. Today we're going to cover NC Live's career research tools that we added in the last cycle. So that includes Ferguson's Career Guidance Center, Cypress Resume, and Testing and Education Reference Center. We'll also talk briefly about some NC Live tools that you can use to make the most of these resources and other new resources in our package, as well as make time for your questions. So if you, while we're going through this slideshow and this demonstration, look out for the following. We're going to see 3 methods of resume support. There's one type of resume support in each one of these interfaces, so we'll look at each of those. We'll also see 2 different school searches in Ferguson's and Testing and Education Reference Center. We will see career advice, 2 different collections of career advice, and we'll also see 1 certification and entrance exam prep tool. So while we're going through this program, go ahead and take the notes on the differences and think a little bit about how you might use them or which one you might choose to use for different audiences. And then we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through. All right, so again, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. You can find that down at the bottom of your screen. And we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go to nclive.org. I'm just going to adjust my windows, pardon me. Okay, so here we are at NC Live. So you'll see that on our NC Live website, we have our search bar right up here. We also have our browsing options, and we have our Browse All button. So this can get us to all 90 plus of the resources that we license for our NC Live member libraries, along with the 40 plus free tools that we also curate and add to that collection. So I'm going to click this button here, Browse All, to get to our A to Z list. And on here on the left, I can filter down by subjects. So the one we want, since we're looking for careers, is career jobs and test preparation. So go ahead and click on that. And we can see one of our tools that we're going to cover at the end of our session, Testing and Education Reference Center, is our best bet for that particular topic. But we're going to start at the beginning with Ferguson's Career Guidance Center. All right, so Ferguson's Career Guidance Center is career advice and support tools for all walks of life, from the beginning of starting to plan your career all the way through to planning your education and then launching your career. And actually, those are sort of the 3 categories of tools that Ferguson's has in the Career Guidance Center. So first we can see our Explore Industries and Careers, Plan Your Education, and Launch Your Career. There are 3 sort of different sections within this database. So you can either access the individual tools within each of these sections from this nav menu up at the top, or you can also search right here in the search box. The search is really good, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Or you can also browse some of the tools that they offer on the home page. And you can see, again, they're divided out by those 3 areas. On the right, we'll see additional information and tools. So here we have some blog posts and advice articles from career experts. You can see that they're updated pretty frequently. This one's from May 8th. Then over here, we have Profession Outlook. We have career Q&A videos, a career interest assessment, and then some tips for graduates from Sue Morum. So this is sort of the area on Ferguson's where you're going to have supplemental information. So keep an eye on that right side of the page whenever you're exploring Ferguson's, because you'll always have some quick tips or additional articles that you can check out on that side of the page. All right, so we're going to start with our industry overview. So you can either click Browse All Industries and Careers right here, or you can go up to the top of the page and click Industry Overviews and Profession Profiles. So here you're going to see profiles of a bunch of different careers. So first, they break down jobs and industries into 21 categories. So you can, let's say we want to find our library science related careers. We can go to education right here. And then we'll move over here to library and information services. And one thing, this menu can be a little touchy, so you want to make sure that you're sort of moving horizontally with your mouse if you're following along, so that you can select library and information services. And then this is where you'll see your industry overview. So you'll get a little bit of an overview of what the field is all about, some background of the field. So, and as you can see, it went back to, the dawn of civilization. It's going back to ancient Egypt, it's going back to pyramids, all sorts of things. So as we scroll down, we'll see some resources and associations that you can go to find out more. And then at the very bottom, you'll get citation information. So they have a citation available right here. You can either choose MLA or Chicago. They do not have APA available. They have a little article about how to cite, and then they also have the record URL. So if you're trying to link one of your patrons to a particular page in Ferguson's, just scroll all the way down to the bottom and copy this URL right here. Don't use this one up here because it won't get you to the right page. This one will authenticate you correctly. It'll include any proxy information that you might need, all of that good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to click this little link to return to the top. All right. So once you read about the career, the field, and you want to explore some related jobs within that field, then you can go over here to the right-hand side. So again, that's our supplemental information or our area to learn more in Ferguson's. So up here, you'll see you have related industries. If you want to try something different, maybe if you decide, maybe I'm more interested in museums, you can do that. And then you can also find related careers to this field that we've just read about. So here I could choose children's librarians. And then here I'm going to get a job profile. So it'll give you an overview, history. If I continue down, it'll give you, some of the job duties you might have, earnings, work environment. Let me keep scrolling down. My favorite one is the experience, skills, and personality traits. So you'll see that children's librarians should enjoy working with children. Not a big surprise there. So they have to be good teachers, have patience, strong interpersonal skills. So all of the actual skills and personality traits that that might draw you to this particular field and help you succeed in this field. So continuing down, you'll also see employment prospects, and then some tips for entry. So you can go and see, we have I need a library job, we have job lists from ALA to start looking for job listings for children's librarians. And then again, we have those ALA, and other associations, and down here again, citation and record URL for this particular page. Okay, I'm going to return back to the top again. And then over here on the left, again, we're going to have some more of that supplemental information. So we have some quick facts about children's librarians, including a salary range. So from the low end, high end to the median income. And then, we'll see personality traits again. So we'll also see the career ladder right here. Moving up from library assistant or technician all the way up to director or children's library director in this case. So this can be a great way to explore different careers that you might be interested in. Okay. So once you decide that you really like this particular career and you want to start finding jobs, you actually can just go back up to the very top of the page, And you'll see here's a tab that says Job Profile underneath the title of the career. To the right, you'll find a tab for Find Jobs. And if you click on that, then you actually can get jobs directly from Indeed.com. So we've got library supervisor, children's, librarian 1, part-time. You can narrow it down by location. So let's see what's going on in North Carolina. All right, so we're seeing Cabarrus County is hiring, Durham County. So we've got a lot of different options here, and we can go ahead and apply directly from here. All right. So I also want to show you under Explore Industries and Careers, you can also sort of get a quick overview of jobs that people might be interested in by clicking fastest growing or highest paying or most in demand. So let's go ahead and look at highest paying jobs. And no big surprise, there are a lot of jobs that require a lot of training, a lot that have to do with medicine, engineering, being a physicist. I was going to say physicism, that's not quite right. And they'll have a little definition of why these jobs were selected, and then give you a selection of jobs. These are updated fairly frequently as well. And then you can get directly into that career overview. All right. So another thing I'd like to show you in here is career Q&A videos. So these videos will be embedded in the actual individual career profiles like we were just looking at. So if I searched for actor, let's see, principal actor. All right, that example, let me try just librarian. Darn, I had an example and it looks like it changed. Well, anyhow, these will be embedded within the career profile, or should be. Okay, there we go. So under acupuncturists, there's a little button here that says Watch Career Q&A Video. And you can read the full transcript. You can click on any of these individual words and get to that part in the career transcript. Play the video, watch individual segments, and all that sort of thing. So all of these videos are also available within Films on Demand. It's from the same database provider. So so you can also access all of these career Q&A videos within Films on Demand as well. But they are also available as a list from the Explore Industries and Careers menu. So these videos are going to show you basically the basics of the career. It's basically like having an interview with a professional in that field, so you can get a feel for what the day-to-day work is like, what their career path was like, what led them to that career. So it can give you a little bit more of a personal touch while you're looking through those industry overviews and profession profiles. All right, so that's this top section here covered. Are there any questions? All right, so all right, great. So the last thing I'd like to show you in this section is the career assessment. So if you click on that, this will actually be a 10-page series of questions where you can decide whether you like, dislike, or are unsure about individual job duties. So this can help your patrons if they're not really certain about what career they want to have. They can go through this career assessment and get some ideas for what kind of careers they'd be interested in. It'll link them to different profession profiles that they can look at the end of it, but it can be a fun way of figuring out some basics about what kind of careers they could investigate further. So again, that was in the Explore Industries and Careers section under Take Our Career Assessment. Okay, so resources by industry, that's basically just lists of resources. Like when we were looking at education and we saw those professional unions and associations and things like that, that's just going to be more another way to get to it. So those are already available within the profession profiles, but you can see a list of them here. So this is basically what we were looking at before. Okay, but that's another way to get to it. So that's that full menu of tools. All right, next we want to look briefly at Plan Your Education. So the main tool in this section is a school search. So I'm going to click undergraduate, and we can actually switch between the 4 different school searches here. So we have undergraduate, graduate, vocational and technical, and nursing. So I'm going to do undergraduate. If you need detailed instructions, there's a link right there that you can click. But basically, I just decide on the criteria that I'm interested in. So if I'm really interested in schools that are in a certain location, I can easily select a few states that I'd be interested in searching within. So I've got, let's say, California. I want to be tropical. So I'm going to do California, I'm going to do Florida, and I'm going to do Hawaii. And then I can choose my institution type. So I want a 4-year school, and anything else that I'm interested in. So if I'm interested in women's gymnastics, I can select that. Admissions difficulty level, all sorts of different tools there. But once I'm done, I just click search, and then I have my list of possibilities available right here. So I can sort it by school name or total undergraduate enrollment, high to low, whatever are the most important criteria to me is what I can highlight in this search. So I can also take out things. So I'm going to take off Hawaii. So yeah, so I've got all of this available here. I can click on any of the names to get more information, more of an overview, the full list of bachelor's degrees that are available, and anything else I might want to learn about the school, in addition to a link to the actual school's website. So this is not the only school search available, as I talked about in our intro. So there's also a school search available through Testing and Education Reference Center that I'll show you in a moment. Now I think personally Ferguson's, this one we're looking at right now, is better designed, but it has 2016 data, whereas Testing and Education Reference Center currently has 2017 data. So if you want the newest information about enrollment and any other characteristics, some enrollment especially, or tuition might change, from year to year. So if you're looking for the most up-to-date information, we can check out Testing and Education Reference Center. But I do think that this search is a little bit easier to use, and it's also nice because it's in the sort of career guidance tool. So you can just start from, looking at careers to just going to, see where you can study those careers. So some things to weigh when you decide which one you want to point your patrons toward. Okay, so there are also some advice articles. So we have some college planning under Plan Your Education again, under college planning. We have a bunch of different articles that you can use. If you're trying to decide which major you want to follow, you can find an advice article here that'll cover that. What are you going to do with your life? Over here on the right, you have some article tools, and these were available when we were looking through those industries and careers as well. But here you can save the article, email it to yourself, print it, and also you can get the citation here. This will link you to the bottom of the page. All right. So that's education. over here on the right, we have Launch Your Career. So this is the last section, and this is mostly advice articles again. So like we were just looking at the college planning advice articles, this is going to be advice articles all about launching your career. So the first thing I wanted to show you were the resumes. So I click on that. You've got cover letters, resumes, you've got some individual career information articles here. If I click resumes, then it's going to give me some information about, how to build a resume, what you might want to include. But if you click this second link here, so the special feature second link, to view and download sample resumes, then you can actually choose a particular type of resume that you like, look through a bunch of different sample versions of it, of chronological resumes, different designs. And once you find one that you like the look of and you think would fit your particular experience or the jobs that you're applying for, you can download it as a Word doc, and then you can put in your information. So you can delete out the information that's in there and then type in yours or copy and paste yours. So that's one way, so that's one of the 3 forms of resume support that our new tools offer. So that's right there. Okay. All right. So back in Launch Your Career, there are also some, there's the blog that we also saw on the front page of Ferguson's. So how to speed up your job search, can be interesting, timely information. And then down here, we also have career advice for a variety of different groups, for women, for minorities, for people with disabilities. So these are basically just about how to launch your career or how to find financial aid if you're a member of one of these groups. Okay, are there any questions about Ferguson's before we move on to Cypress? Okay. If you have any questions as we go along, go ahead and let me know. Okay, great. So, so this one, again, just to review, is advice articles, career profiles, a career assessment, and then a school search. So that's what's in Ferguson's. Okay, let's go over to Cypress. So I'm going back to nclive.org, going to again, to that browsing interface, and I'm going to click Cypress Resume. So Cypress Resume just has one function. We saw Ferguson's has a bunch of different things in there that basically just support you at any part of the process of figuring out what career you want and getting that career. So Cypress is just a resume builder. So what's nice about this is that it's really straightforward. You basically can only do a few things in it, and it just leads you through it and sort of holds your hand through the process the whole way. So this only makes functional style resumes. So functional resumes, they're a little bit different from chronological resumes because they focus more on skills. They bring that to the top of the resume rather than dividing out those individual skills or experience points within your career history. So there's career history on there, like we'll see in a moment, but it's sort of down at the bottom, and the main focus is talking about all the different skills that you learned across your whole career or across your lifespan. So it focuses on transferable skills, and this type of resume can be really good for entry level when you don't have a big career history, or if you're doing a big career switch. So you have a lot of experience, but it's in a different field. If you have gaps in your work history, or even if you're overqualified, or you might be considered overqualified for the job that you're applying for. So it's something where you're definitely qualified for the job, but your job history probably isn't the first thing you want your employer to see. Okay, so this, in order to make your resume, basically all you do is just click Go right here. And once it loads, then we'll be prompted to pick a document style. So if you hover over them, you can see a preview of what it's going to look like. So you can see the skills are listed right up there at the top. And so we have our strictly business and we have editor's choice. Now I like editor's choice a little bit better. It fits my style a little more. But Cypress Resume actually can also make cover letters, form cover letters, and it can make lists of references. So if you're planning to make both of those as well, those are both made in the style of strictly business. So if you want to create all three of those, choose strictly business. So I'm going to click use strictly business, and then this is the first step where you just enter in all of your background information. Now I created I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go to the doc manager, and because I actually created a resume to sort of save us some time. So I'm going to go back home, excuse me, and I'm going to click log in to manage my profile. Okay. All right, so I'm in the document manager, and we'll come back to this in a moment. Let's see. Cover letter resume. That one. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and get back into it. Okay, so let's pretend like we just filled in all this information ourselves. So basically, just name and contact information, click next section. Then you have your employment history from most recent to least recent. So what's nice about this is the top of the form has information that's very encouraging about, you know, don't worry if you don't have a lot of experience, like just fill in what you have and then we're going to go from there. So there's also really great help for all of these sections. So if you click help here, and I hope this is actually going to show, let me do a new share and just share my desktop. I'll hide these guys off to the side. So when you open the help documentation, it is going to show all of this, all of the individual spaces and explain in depth, you know, what you want to put in there. So that is a really good tool. So, okay, so you enter your employment history here, and you can enter up to 10 jobs. So if you have more than 3 jobs, you can click this link to enter in more work history information. Then once you're pleased with that, you can click next section, enter in your educational history, high school, college. I'm going to go ahead and skip that for now. Any certifications and training. Again, so for certifications and training and also for our educational history here, we can enter up to 5 points here. Or sorry, 6 points here. Okay. So as you can see, basically I just work from the top down to the bottom, click next section, and can keep proceeding. Okay. So I have, oops, let's go back. I want to go to step 2. Okay. All right, it's making me go straight to step 3, which is not what I wanted to do. I'm so sorry. Please just bear with me for a moment. I thought I was so smart. Okay. So I want to show you step 2 as well. Normally this is a little, as you can see, they hold your hand through the process, so sometimes they prevent you from doing some of the stuff you want to do. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through here again so I can show you step 2. Okay, so here's step 2. Okay, so all of that stuff that we just went through, they consider that step 1. That's just all of your history, your basic information about you. Then once you filled all that in, all your education, all of that, that's step one. Then we go into step two, which is just one piece of information, which is the job title that you are applying for, okay? So here I can search for librarian, and here I have a few different job descriptions. So basically I just choose the job description that most reflects the job I'm applying for. So here I have a librarian that's, would be in middle school as well, an archivist, a file clerk. So I'm going to go for this one, librarian. You select this job. And then, oh, of course, here's where I could have clicked to select a different profession. Well, that's great. Okay, sorry for the adventure that I took you on just there. Okay, so I select that job. Okay, so once I've selected the job, okay, so that's step two. Step one was background information. Step two is select your profession that you're interested in. Then we go here to step three. So this is going to be, they explain right up here that a resume, they're aiming for a one-page resume. A resume should generally be 1 page long. So to ensure that, what they do is based on however much information you've provided in the first step. So like if you have a ton of education, if you have a ton of previous jobs, then they will prompt you to select less in this final step so that you can get, target that 1 page resume. So if I really don't have that much education or that much career experience, then they're going to ask me to select a lot of these skill statements and these job statements. So here, I have, it's telling me it wants me to select 10 items from this section because I don't have a lot in my, that I put in in step one in the background information. So here, basically I just can read through these different profile statements, and they go from more specific for the job to less specific, sort of universal statements like timeliness. So I'm going to go through here. You can see there are tons of statements here. So as you can see, the further I get away from the beginning of the list, the more I get into more basic skills. So here I have eye for detail, routinely catch what others miss, highly productive with an eye for efficiency. So if I click, I can use all of these. I see can-do attitude at all times. I, want to say maybe can-do attitude most of the time. Of course, this is not something you want to put in for real, but let's go ahead and say I've got a can-do attitude most of the time. So I can edit any of these that I want to edit. Highly productive with an eye for efficiency when creating library programming. All right, and click Save. All right, so once I am done with selecting those professional profile statements, once I've selected 10, it'll tell me, okay, stop, you've already selected enough. And then I'll scroll down and I will get to my next section. So it's software and tools. And here I can choose whatever tools I know about, of course. And again, I can edit any of them. But some of these like Flickr, maybe I don't use Flickr, but I really know a lot about Instagram, or I really know a lot about I know a lot about Snapchat filters. So if I want to, if I don't see something that I know about available in this list, I basically can just click Add Custom Item right here, and then put that in. So Snapchat, use, add another custom item. Let's put in Instagram. So whenever I decide I want to use something, whenever I want to apply it to my resume, I just make sure I click that box, Use. So I'll add a few more. I apparently need 2 more. And once that's all been filled in, then I'll go to my final section, that's within step 3. So here I have skills and abilities. So I'm going to go ahead and select. With any of these skills and abilities, I can select like how great I am at that particular skill or ability. So I can go from good to outstanding, or I can leave it blank. So I can just say I have that skill without, adding anything to it. Okay. Again, there's help available on all of these pages. And I now have selected all the skills and abilities that I need. So I can click next section and it will create my resume for me. Okay. So the one that I just created is available right here. We can view it here. I can also, excuse me. I can also look back at that one we were editing before. So we can see what it would look like with work history and all of that. All right. So that is how you create a resume. Was there anything you wanted to look at a little more closely in the resume creation tool? And while you're thinking about that, just want an overview. Okay, sounds good, sounds good. So I'll just, if you have a question, put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. Okay, so here we have, let me show you one more piece here. Let me go back here so I can show you again what we're looking at. Because I went there a little fast. Okay. I'm going to go back home. Okay. So where we were once we finished our resume is we got put onto our My Documents page. So our My Documents page is going to have, if we weren't logged in, all it would show is that document that we just created. And then since I'm logged in and I have a few different documents saved, it shows all of the documents I've created while logged in using my username here. So from here, I can view the resume. I can edit it, so I can go back into the resume creation tool and move things around. I can also delete the resume if I want. And I can also publish or unpublish. So this basically is just putting the resume, it's making it so that the resume is hosted on Cypress Resume and is accessible if you send the link to someone. So if I published this resume, then I could send this link to a potential employer or to myself even, and then I would have access to the PDF of my resume right there. So that's something that I can do if I have an account. All right, so that's in the My Documents tab. I can unpublish it at any time as well if I'd like to remove it from the web. Now this is not going to be, searchable. It's going to be something that you're going to have to send the link out to people if you want them to access it. Okay, so I talked before about how we can create matching documents as well. So we created a resume. We can also create cover letters and references. So we can either do that once we complete our resume and end up on the My Documents page. We can do that down here at the bottom. Or we can also go to the home page and the supporting documents are available right here. So I'll click cover letter and it'll ask me, is this for the librarian position that you created your resume for? So basically it'll remember the last position that you selected when you were making a resume, and then you can create a cover letter for that same position. So here they have cover letters that are created for each type of career. So here we can see it's sort of education focused, leadership to effectively supervise daily library operations, budgeting, planning, personnel activities. So they're fairly targeted. Again, similar to those job statements that we looked at in the resume creation tool, these cover letter templates will start off much more specific towards the career you're looking at. And then if you click more right up here, they'll become much more basic and something that could apply to a lot of different jobs. So like, please accept this as my application for employment in response to your job posting. So, you know, that's going to be a very basic cover letter. All right. So you might like this, like some of this in the cover letter, but you might want to move things around. And again, you can edit them just like we were with those job statements. Okay. So I can grab and move them around. Once I'm happy, then I can save it right there. And then I can, again, click next section. Oops. And here's, I've made a mistake here, but this will pop up if you haven't used that use button. You've always got to select that use checkbox there before you can move on. Okay, so now I also have my cover letter. So I can see it's cover letter type here. It's HH. I can view it and print it out and sign it. It's ready to go. And then the final thing that I can make is my references. So basically you just enter in your name and it's going to remember it from the last time you entered it. And then you'll just enter in your references right here. And it'll format it for you. Okay, so once you have all the documents that you've wanted to create, then you can download them. In addition to being able to publish them on the web so that you can send the link to other people, you can also download them as word processor documents. So this .rts is it's a very interoperable file extension. So you could open it up in Google Drive, you could open it up in Word, you could open it up in OpenOffice, and all of those would be able to read it pretty well. If you already have, so that's if you want to download it and be able to edit it even further on your own device. If you want to be able to just send it off immediately, you can download it as PDF. Or you can also download it as plain text if you'd just like to easily copy and paste it into you know, a job portal tool or anything like that. You've got all your options right there. Okay, so that is Cypress Resume, just a step-by-step resume and cover letter and references creation tool. So that's sort of a one-trick pony, but it does what it does, you know, very simply, and it's a fairly self-explanatory process. Okay. All right. So next up, we are going to finish up with Testing and Education Reference Center. So I'll click right there. So Testing Education Reference Center replaced Learning Express Library. What you're going to find here is test prep for a variety of different types of tests. So you're going to have basic skills right here. You'll have high school exams. You'll have college prep, so a lot of college entrance exams right here. You'll also have career. So if someone's already gone through school and they're ready to become a nurse, they can, you know, take their NCLEX exam here, or they can, teachers can take prep for their praxis exam here. over here we have grad school and then international. So that's going to be TOEFL, TOEIC, and US citizenship. In addition, it also contains some college and career counseling tools. So here you're going to see ways to search for your colleges and scholarships as well. And then you're going to also see a way to get career advice also through the virtual career library. And then finally, your resume writing. So this is going to be your one-stop shop for test preparation, but then they also have a few other things thrown in that are also available in Ferguson's. So you can sort of decide which version you'd like to show your patrons. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go for resume writing, just because we were just looking at another resume writing tool. So if I click resume writing, if I go to career and click resume writing, I can get right to it, to the resume builder. So I already have an account, as you can see, but before you use anything in Testing Education Reference Center, you'll need to create a free account. So with Cypress, you don't have to create a free account, but you're a little more limited with the types of resumes you can create. This, you have a little more leeway with the types of resumes, but you do have to create a free account. So I'm going to go ahead and click submit and log in. So here I've got a resume that's partially in progress. I've got a cat resume. So once all of these are saved for me, and I can create copies of them. If I want to copy the resume and make some edits, but still keep the original one, I can do that just by clicking copy resume. So here is the resume creation tool. So basically, first I choose my resume template again. You can click on it to preview it. And fill in your information, and it will remember your information from resume to resume. So you can save time that way. If you're just trying to tweak your resume, you can do that. Then you can decide which sections you need. So, if you don't really have anything for affiliations, if you, do have languages, you can add them using this tool. So I can move them back and forth here. And you can order them in whatever order you like. Once you're satisfied that you have all of the sections that you want in your resume in this My Sections column, then you can click Next down at the bottom of the page and then fill out all your information. So you'll go through step by step, and I won't go through this one quite so as in depth with as I did with Cypress Resume, but basically as you create things, you can look up keywords here. So because it knows that I want to be a librarian, it's going to show me a lot of different skills that I can use and keywords that I can use. So classroom management, closed stacks, that's a little bit older, but curriculum development, things like that. In addition, it'll also have suggested phrases. So these are all going to be education focused just because it knows I want to be a librarian from what I chose before. So here we can say, creative, energetic professional with proven success in training, whatever these things are that are useful to us. And then we also have an action verbs tool available there. So again, we're gonna, we can preview our resume up here. So you can see I just put in some random information in that resume that I copied before. And we can get examples and things like that. I'm going to go back to my resume manager just because I want to show you that we can then format our resume as well. So we can actually move around sections as well if we want to. You know, move around my experience so that it's put in the correct order. And all of that. So it's very modular. Once you create something, then you can easily edit it, you can copy it, you can move it around. So it's got a lot of power, but as you could see, you have to get a little bit used to just dragging and dropping different sections, but that's sort of the functionality that you'll see throughout that resume creator. Okay. Which resume tool is my favorite? Okay, well, I love Cypress Resume because it's a very simple tool to use. You can just sit someone down in front of it and they will basically know just what to do. It holds their hand. The downside of it is that it's not, it probably wouldn't be as useful for a more professional position, I guess, like for like a librarian or, someone with a lot of education required in their field. I'd probably go with Testing and Education Reference Center's tool, or or possibly Ferguson's. See, it basically depends. So I love Cypress because of its ease of use, but it's only super useful for a smaller part of the population. Now, Ferguson's and Testing and Education Reference Center are going to be a little more complicated, or not as straightforward to use maybe, but they're going to be more flexible for a wider variety of people. So I guess, yeah, my answer is it depends. Even though Cypress is my favorite, I would recommend different tools to different people. Which one were you kind of thinking was the one that you would most recommend to your patrons? And as you think about that, let me go back to the main page. The most attractive resume, I would try, they all have different, well, let me show you some of the templates that are here. They're all gonna have one or two that you're gonna like the look of. So that looks pretty straightforward, but it's got a little bit of style to it. Sorry, let me click on that again. So basically it depends on what type of resume you're looking for, because here we can see, in Cypress we had those functional resumes. Here we had we have our chronological resume, probably more the type that you or I probably made in our career history. When we're applying for jobs, it's probably more the type that we're going to use. So really it depends. They all have different looks to them. Ferguson's, if you're really looking for a number of templates, Ferguson's is going to be your best bet in terms of that, because they just have so many different types of sample resumes. Like they have a CV, they have functional resumes, and they're going to have a lot of different versions. So yeah, so really it just depends. It depends on the skill level of the patron you're working with, like whether they need something that's very straightforward, or whether they're able to or willing to experiment a bit more with their resume. So they all have their place. Basically, I would recommend you just try out each one, see what you think. Let me know what you think as well. Okay. So once you're done with your resume building in Testing and Education Reference Center, again, you're going to have those same tools that were available before. So you've got your email, download, you can do it as PDF or doc, so that would be your editable version, and all of those different things right there. So if they have, all three resume tools have ways to export those resumes so that you can edit them later or just send them directly on. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to show you I'm just going to show you where a few more things are, just so you know the breadth of this resource. So here in College Prep, if you click College and Scholarship Search, then you're going to get to the undergraduate school search and the nursing school search in Testing Education Reference Center. So before we looked at the one in Ferguson's, and that one, I said before, it looks a little bit more polished, but this one actually has 1 year later information. This has the 2017 statistics, and the Ferguson's has the this is 2017, Ferguson's has 2016. So again, you're going to decide what you like, what you want to search for. So you can search for basics, you can search for campus life. You know, I'm just going to look for schools in Germany. Once you decide what you want, then I'm going to see I've got one because I probably should modify my search, but I've just got one in my list. But normally you'd get a much larger list. Here you can click Modify Search to change it. You know, edit those responses that we put in. You know, maybe we could add France too. Why not? Update your results list. Yeah, so here you're going to see your list of results. You can order it by any of these again. So it's very similar in functionality. It just looks a little different. Again, you'll see all the information about this school, all the information about applying. Okay, so that's available right under here under College Prep. And then we also have a lot of exam prep. So I can find any exams by typing in right up here at the top the name of the exam, or I can navigate to it right up here under, you know, career, medical, and nursing. So those are two different ways I can get to those NCLEX preps. And then I can take online practice tests after logging in. So we'll see all of our online practice tests right here. These are scored automatically. Then we'll also, if we continue scrolling down, we'll also see our online books. So I'm going to open my NCLEX PN. And then you'll get a digital rights management free PDF of that book. So you can download it, you can print it, you can do whatever you want with it for your own personal educational use. Yep, so that is available as well. Really great option for studying for a variety of exams. So I just want to show you one more that you might be interested in as a public librarian. Here under military, we have practice tests for the ASVAB. These are available online. And we also have a Master the ASVAB book as well.